Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the best sports show out. You're watching episode 42 of Highly Opinionated. I'm your co-host, Josh. Ladies and gentlemen, the best co-host in the game. What's up, JG? How are you, sir?
Josh, what's going on with you, bro? Everything good with you?
Everything is good with me, man. Everything good with you?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
I hear that. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to be hopefully we are the last people to wish the men in the world happy Father's Day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 41 last week with the great Ernie Graham. Shout out to my brother JG for making that happen. You're a good man for that. Ladies and gentlemen, also speaking of my brother JG, make sure you follow, like, subscribe at the Club JG podcast. He's doing amazing work over there. Bro, you know, I always give them the option, always give them the floor to speak about what they got going on. So just give the audience a few seconds to a minute about what you got going on with the Club JG podcast this week, bro.
Yeah, man, just it's gonna be definitely more sports related. I think this past week I did a couple of things, and Club JG is more than just a sports podcast. We dip into the dating world, we dip into things going on in pop culture. So I touched on a little bit on Travis Scott's recent documentary that dropped about the Astro World tragedy that happened back in 2021. Gave my thoughts about that. Just continuing to go with the NBA Finals and just how this great basketball we got going on right now, and the casual basketball fan might be looking at it. Well, it's like, the viewership's not that high, but I feel bad for those people who aren't watching because you're missing great basketball with great young talent that's just going to continue to get better.
Absolutely, bro. You're definitely right about that. Ratings might be down in the NBA Finals, but it's great basketball. Our highly opinionated group text be buzzing during the NBA Finals. If you think I'm lying, JG will tell you. Like, it be buzzing. Ross got something to say. Dylan got something to say. Tim got something to say. JG got something to say. I got something to say. So I love these NBA Finals. Game 5 is Monday night, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. We'll get to that later on in the show, but it's been a great NBA Finals. And again, I just want to shout out the Club JG podcast, bro. You're doing great things over there. I feel like I have the best segment in sports. Let's talk about it. A very close rival is the Ugly Truth. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out the Club JG podcast and look at the Ugly Truth because that is truly something. Oh my God. I remember me and Tim did the show one time. I almost got in trouble. I had to sleep outside because of the Ugly Truth. So shout out to the Ugly Truth. That segment is amazing. So I
appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see two guys on the screen. Usually we're here with the best producer, the best editor, the best guy in the game, Ross. Ross is still around. He's dealing with something. He won't be on camera this week. He will be back next week. Ross, we love you. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. You make Highly Opinionated what it is to this day. So I have to steal from Ross. Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to follow our social media. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on You can follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You see it on the screen as I'm speaking right now. So we love the engagement. We love the follows. We love the comments. We love everything. You guys, the fans, the people is what make Highly Opinionated what it is. So we are very, very thankful for you guys, and we look forward to engaging with you guys throughout the time of Highly Opinionated. JG, you ready to get episode 42 started, my brother?
Yes, sir, brother. Let's do it.
Let's get started with, as we always do, with some NFL news. Let's start off with former Chargers running back J.K. Dobbins. He signed with the Denver Broncos, so J.K. Dobbins stays in the AFC West. What do you think about the Denver Broncos this year? Last year, we know they made the playoffs. They surprised people last year. What do you think about the Denver Broncos this year, my brother? Before we get to what do you think about Denver Broncos, what do you think about J.K. Dobbins signing with the Denver Broncos, and what do you think this does to enhance their chances this year to be a successful team?
Excellent pickup by Denver. You definitely want to continue to bolster that running game for Sean Payton. You want to utilize Bo Nix's ability to run. J.K. Dobbins is still a very capable running back. He's had some tough, gruesome injuries over the years. Really a lot of bad luck, but when this guy's healthy, has the ability to be very productive, and I think can be an actual game changer for that offense, as far as they want to take it to the next level. A lot of people believe that the Denver Broncos have a real chance of challenging for the AFC West crown this year with the Kansas City Chiefs being there. At first, when I first heard that comment, I believe it was Bart Scott that kind of made that comment on ESPN's Get Up. I kind of paused for a minute. I was like, well, there's no way. It's Kansas City. But then when I looked at it and I saw how well Denver played against Kansas City, and this is how well they played overall this year, with first-year head coach Sean Payton, as great of a coach as he is, I don't think it's totally out of the question that the Denver Broncos can really challenge for the divisional crown. I'm not going to go as far to say they're going to go make a Super Bowl appearance or anything like that, but this Broncos team will not surprise anybody. Bo Nix in the second year with a Sean Payton offense, and now you add a J.K. Dobbins to really help bolster that running game. I think the Broncos are ready to take the next step.
Yeah, I definitely like your pick about the Broncos. I definitely think they'll be a contender in the AFC West, along with the LA Chargers, along with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that the Las Vegas Raiders have gotten better. They obviously got Geno Smith. He's a better quarterback than what they had last year. And they went out and they got Pete Carroll as a head coach. That's a Super Bowl. 3 of the 4 coaches in the AFC West have Super Bowl rings. Sean Payton, Andy Reid. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, thank you. Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Pete Carroll. And then the 4th coach, he just so happened to win the national championship. So we know he can win the championship. And Jim Harbaugh took his team to the Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers. He lost to your beloved Baltimore Ravens. By the way, that was passing the ferns yesterday. That's passing the ferns today, and it'll be passing the ferns tomorrow on Michael Crabtree with Jimmy Smith. But I digress. It happened. It is what it is. The Ravens won. They got it. Now, getting back to the Broncos. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Beyonce ruined everything because the lights turned off midway, and all of a sudden the San Fran goes on a run. That's how I was going to be suspicious, but we can go ahead and talk about that.
No, I know. You are right. The Ravens were thoroughly dominating that game, and then Beyonce got to shut it down. She got to shut it down, and she really shut it down, and then San Francisco came back. So you are right about that. Getting back to the Broncos, I love what the Broncos did. I love adding, like you said, J.K. Dobbins. You have a running back room now with R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, Estime, and Jaleel McLaughlin. So I love that running back room. You got all type of size. You got big bruisers. You got people who can catch the ball. You got speed in that running back room. So the Broncos last year made the playoffs, and I feel like their defense has gotten better. This offseason, they've added Dre Greenlaw from the San Francisco 49ers. They've added Hufanga from the San Francisco 49ers, an all-pro safety. They drafted Jaheed Barnes in the first round, a corner out of Texas. So this Broncos defense is definitely trying to get better. They're definitely trying to do everything they can to improve this roster. The running back I mentioned, R.J. Henry, he was drafted in the second round out of Central Florida. So I like this Broncos team. Like you said, they made the playoffs last year. They surprised people. They won't surprise people this year. And I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the AFC West might be the best division this year in football. You got the Chiefs. You got the Chiefs, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. You got the Broncos, who made the playoffs last year, the Chargers, who made the playoffs last year, and the Raiders, who we all think will be better. So I think the AFC West potentially could be the best division in the NFL this season.
That's not a bad pick. Like we just talked about, we got 3 Hall of Fame coaches in there, and then you throw in Jim Harbaugh, who's an unbelievable coach in his own right. Just came off national championship in Michigan before going to take Justin Herbert and the Chargers to the playoffs. So that's not a bad pick. I think the NFC North may have something to say about that as far as best division in football this season. When you think about the Lions, Packers, the Chicago Bears, who are expected to be a lot better. And then of course, I'm missing one. NFC North, Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings.
Coming off the year they have with Sam Darnold, and now turning the keys over to J.J. McCarthy, their first-round draft pick, and Kevin O'Connell being the great coach that he is. I think the NFC North will have something to say about that. That's not a bad pick. The AFC West, obviously, you have, I just talked about the coaches. Then we get to the quarterbacks and the weapons that each quarterback has. This is about to be a really fun division.
Yeah. So last year, I kind of did a 180 on Justin Herbert. I thought he was playing like a top 5 quarterback last year. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, but I thought he was playing like a top 5 quarterback last year. Again, you have Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix. Most people think the second year, that's what people thinking in Washington. They think Jaden Daniels is going to take a step. Well, if you think Jaden Daniels is going to take a step, why would you think Bo Nix is going to take a step? I know they lost in the first round to at Buffalo, but most people thought they were going to lose that game anyway. So you would think that Bo Nix would take that step under Sean Payton, who's a Super Bowl winning championship coach. He took Drew Brees when Drew Brees' shoulder was messed up, and obviously guided that team along with Drew Brees to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So for me, I think Bo Nix is in a prime position. You have an offensive coach with a young quarterback that you can mold and put the way you want. So I definitely think the Denver Broncos. I think that, like I said, I think the AFC West will be the toughest division this year in the NFL. Let's move to the NFC North, a team in the NFC North, like you said, that could rival the AFC West as the best division in the NFL. Let's move to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown has had knee surgery during the offseason. So how do you think that will affect the Detroit Lions along with all the changes that they've had in the offseason?
I'm not too worried about St. Brown. You want to get something done like this now while we're dealing with voluntary OTAs and offseason. We're not even getting close to all the voluntary stuff, let alone training camp. So you want to try to knock this out as early as you can, and the Lions are doing that. St. Brown is being smart about it. But Detroit Lions as a whole, we were talking about it, winning 15 games last year. Obviously, a lot of us think they underachieved, even though they lost to a Washington team and Jaden Daniels that just got hot. And just became a really hard offense to stop. Daniels having the best rookie season of all time. So, but by and large, we thought Detroit underachieved. We thought they should have gone to the Super Bowl the previous year when they lost to San Francisco because they kept going for it on fourth down. A lot of people thought it wasn't smart what they were doing. They kind of did everything they could to hand the game to San Francisco, and ultimately they did. So you imagine that Detroit was going to come back strong, and they did. But then losing to DC like they did, and then you lose your offensive coordinator, you lose your defensive coordinator, both becoming head coaches, and Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson in Chicago. So you imagine this isn't going to be the same team. Their head coach, Dan Campbell, is still one of the great coaches in the league. Definitely a fan favorite. One of my favorite coaches to watch, actually, because the guy is authentic as it gets. So I definitely appreciate that, being a former athlete and everything. But I think Detroit is likely going to take a couple of steps back. We still think they'll make the playoffs. I mean, I still think they'll make the playoffs. I think even though with this tough division, Jared Goff has been very good in the regular season. They still got Gibbs. They still got Montgomery. You're going to get St. Brown back. And you're going to get Aiden Hutchinson back. So the defense will be more intact than it was last year. They had, 15 guys on season-ending IR for crying out loud. So you imagine getting all those guys back, your defense will be in better shape. So while Detroit might not win 15 games, I still view them as a viable playoff team and a viable contender in the NFC still.
I agree. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, mathematically, if you win 15 games in a season, you're going to take a step back. They're not going to win. They're not going to go undefeated this year. So they're obviously going to take a step back. I think Philadelphia will take a step back. I think Minnesota will take a step back. Doesn't mean Philadelphia can't win the championship. Doesn't mean Minnesota can't win the championship. Doesn't mean Detroit can't win the championship. I just don't think they're going to win 15, 14, and 14 games respectively. I just don't think that's going to happen this year in the NFC. I'm going to give you a stat about Amon-Ra St. Brown. In the last 3 seasons, he's had 106 catches, 119 catches, 115 catches. So in the last 3 seasons, he's had over 300. He's had 340 catches in the last 3 seasons. Think about that. So obviously, I mentioned the knee injury, the knee surgery that he's had. The wear and tear of him catching that many passes is breaking him down to an extent. So I need Sam Laporta, I need Jamison Williams, I need the other receivers to step up. So the wear and tear on St. Brown, should be late in the season going into the playoffs, not from week 1 to the playoffs. Because at that point, he's going to break down. He's not the biggest. He's not a DK Metcalf. He's not a Julio Jones or Terrell Owens type of receiver. He's not a small receiver, but he's smaller compared to those guys in size and frame. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown was one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's not underrated anymore. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. Last season, he had 12 touchdown catches. 2013, he had 10 touchdown catches. 2022, he had 6 touchdown catches. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, like you said, I think he will be what he needs to be. For me, I think Detroit will take a step back. They lost their offensive coordinator. Their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, is now the head coach with the Chicago Bears. Their new offensive coordinator is a guy by the name of John Morton. He's been with the Lions for years. The defensive coordinator, they lost Aaron Glenn to the New York Jets to be their head coach. The new defense coordinator is a guy by the name of Calvin Shepard. So he's been with the Detroit Lions as well. So these guys have been in-house. They know the talent. They've been around on talent. But let me say this. It's different being a linebacker coach than being a defense coordinator. It's different than being a defensive backs coach than being the defense coordinator. The whole defense is looking at you now. You got to call the right play. Guys got to believe in you. Got to make sure you're doing the right things. That's why I think Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts might take a little step back because they have a new offensive coordinator. It might take Jalen Hurts a little while to get familiar with that offensive coordinator. Even though he's been in the system, he's not been the offensive coordinator. So we think the Detroit Lions will take a step back. But if I had to make playoff predictions right now, I think the Lions would be one of the 7 teams I picked to make the playoffs in the NFC. So I'm agreeing with you. But they will definitely take a step back. Definitely. No doubt about it. Anything else you want to add, or you want me to move on to?
No, I agree.
Let's move on to our last topic with NFL news. We have holdouts and a contract holdout. Let's start off with the holdouts. TJ Watt from the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's holding out. Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals, he's holding out. Both guys are holding out for new contracts. And the Bengals' first-round pick, Shamar Stewart, is holding out because of contract language with the Cincinnati Bengals. If you don't mind, I'll start off with this one. I don't understand what the problem is with Cincinnati with Shamar Stewart. Every first-round pick is signed. Every first-round pick is signed except for Shamar Stewart. Now, you know, being a fan of by being in the AFC North, you're a fan of the Baltimore Ravens, but I know you look at all the Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, has been called cheap. I can thoroughly understand that, why they call them that, because there's no reason why every first round pick is signed, and the Bengals are trying to understand contract language with it. In fact, Ross, I'll give you a chance to play this. Here is Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network talking about Shamar Stewart's contract situation.
I really can't imagine a head coach, there's a couple of them, but not that many head coaches having as many different weird crises or whatever the word is to talk about like Zach Taylor's. I mean, he's had so many things, and now his first-round draft pick rookie, who they really, really like inside the organization, decides to stage a dramatic walkout, very Costanza-esque, like, it's over. Goodbye. See you in the summer, Shamar Stewart. Let me try to explain what's going on in the Shamar Stewart situation. The Cincinnati Bengals are updating their contract language. Not talking about the participation agreement. That's over a different language issue, but they are updating their language contractually. It's the same one that Amarius Mims signed last year, same one that several of their draft picks signed last year. And according to sources, several of the teams around them use the same language, but it's different from what the Bengals have used in the past. Shamar Stewart and his agent, Zach Hiller, have opted not to negotiate on that, not to accept that language. The Bengals, to my understanding, have made several different offers and several different options about how to update it and make it clear. Those have not taken either. So where we are, Mark, is the Bengals' first-round draft pick being dramatic and walking out of minicamp. Now, will it matter come training camp? I don't know, but I imagine the teammates in the front office are at the very least taking note of this situation.
So guys, as you see, and Rappaport is speaking on that contract situation. So again, John, making back to my point, Mike Brown has been cheap. He's consistently been cheap, and his cheap ways just might cost the Bengals a chance to be one of the best teams in the AFC, because the Bengals offense was fine last year. You know that. They had Joe Burrow, top 2, 3. Well, I'm not trying to offend anybody. He's a top 4 quarterback, however you rank Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, or Joe Burrow. He's a top 4 quarterback. They had the, in my opinion, they have the best or the second best receiver in the NFL in Jamar Chase. So the offense wasn't the problem. It was the defense. You draft a guy in the first round on defense that you need, but you can't come to language on contract. You can't come to agreement on the contract language. Mike Brown, you got to be better. You're holding back the Cincinnati Bengals.
He's definitely holding back the Bengals. He's holding back Joe Burrow, your franchise quarterback, in his best years right now. They're too good to not be. They're too good to be 9-8 and missing the playoffs or fighting for a playoff position every day. They're too good. I'm a Ravens fan, but I also have eyes, and I'm a logical fan. The Bengals have one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. Joe Burrow is one of the most lethal quarterbacks in the NFL. Ask the Kansas City Chiefs, ask the Buffalo Bills, ask me, because I got to deal with this guy two times a year, and it terrifies me because I know how good he is. He's a stone cold killer at quarterback, and yes, you gave him the weapons. You paid Jamar, paid T. Higgins. You know, you got Chase Brown back there in the backfield. But eventually you're going to have to play defense. Joe Burrow can't play defense for you. That's football is just two sides to the football. You got your offensive team, you got your defensive team. Joe Burrow, Chase, and Higgins can't play defense for you. You can't keep outscoring guys in the NFL and expecting to win. Cincinnati already tried that. It didn't get them far. Eventually they missed the playoffs. They made a run, made it interesting. And then the slow starts in September, losing to the New England Patriots with Jacoby Brissett before Drake May even gets in there. You're at home and that happens. Like, it's inexcusable. Like, Zach Taylor, I'm looking at you, bro. Like, you, at some point in time, we have to start looking at the head coach with this team. We always look at head coaches whenever the Buffalo Bills underachieve, whenever the Ravens underachieve. It's like, what's going on, Harbaugh? What's going on, Sean McDermott? When are we going to start looking at Zach Taylor? When are we going to start looking at Mike Brown, the owner? What the hell's going on? you're literally wasting the prime years of one of the best quarterbacks the best quarterback in your franchise history. I don't hear anything about Carson Palmer. Joe Burrow is already the best quarterback in your franchise history, and you can't even get him a defense together to at least like give him some semblance of a defense. Like they were so bad. And Trey Hendrickson, the one bright spot that you have on defense, who led the league in sacks, you still haven't paid him. You're still in talks now, I guess, like to work it out. But it's like it's incredible that you're letting this linger as long as it has. And then the thing that's funny, but not funny for Bengals fans, obviously, you essentially drafted his replacement, and now he don't even want to sign his contract because you're trying to screw him over. So it's so many questions right now in Cincinnati. If I'm Joe Burrow, it's like, yeah, I got my guys on offense, but it's like, do I really want to stay here my entire career and continue to deal with this when there's clearly no signs that anything's changing? I don't know.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson in the last two seasons, 2023, 2024, he's had 17 and a half sacks both seasons. So basically 35 sacks in the past two seasons. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. So, yeah, the Bengals are being cheap. They're being frugal. They're trying to save money. I don't understand why. You have an all-time quarterback. Not an all-time quarterback. You have one of the four best quarterbacks in the NFL now. You need to go for it. He took you to the Super Bowl. So we obviously know he can play. And I'll take it a step further. You said that the Bengals shouldn't be 9-8. The Bengals didn't make the playoffs last year. Do you know why they didn't make the playoffs last year? Because Kansas City didn't. Kansas City was never going to try to beat Denver. Why? Because Kansas City knows Cincinnati can look them eye to eye. They don't want no problems. I said this last year. I'm going to say it again. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and the Baltimore Ravens did not want to see the Cincinnati Bengals. They did. They did. No, they did. They did. I know. Listen, I know that y'all beat them. Y'all beat them twice.
I can't do that, Josh.
Why not? Why not?
What's Lamar Jackson's record against Joe Burrow?
I know that's great. I'm not comparing Lamar Jackson to Joe Burrow. What I'm saying is,
you're talking about the Ravens don't want to see Cincy. No. Yeah. I understand Buffalo and I understand Kansas City. I'm with you on that. Okay. But the Ravens getting to see Cincinnati at home, they're not scared of that.
Okay, let me say this. The reason why I don't think the Ravens want to see them, they beat them twice. Cincinnati is a good team. You're not beating a good team three times. You're not sweeping a good team. You're just not. Think about how they won Think about how they beat them in Cincinnati. It was Lamar Jackson had to beat Lamar Jackson. Think about how they beat them in Baltimore. Like Cincinnati was at the goal line, they just couldn't score. So my point is that they were in position to win both games, right? So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
so I just think that. Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry,
but it's my thing with the whole like I don't want to see a team. I don't want to see a certain quarterback, bro. You're gonna have to beat a great team to win a championship. You're gonna have to beat Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or whoever great quarterback is out there, a great team to win a championship. So all this notion that, and I'm not saying this, you Josh, like a lot of people in the media will try to say like, trust me when I say this, the Ravens don't want to see that guy or they don't want to see Joe Burrow. Yo, you're going to have to beat some great team and great quarterback to win a championship. So all this notion that these are guys you don't want to see, and I get it. Joe Burrow has beaten Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. He went in the icy, snowy Buffalo with Josh Allen and owned him. Like Josh Allen, they were never even in the game. So I get it. But when it comes to Lamar and the Ravens, I look at the record, and I know what you're saying. They shouldn't have won that first game in Cincinnati. That shouldn't have happened. But in Baltimore, it's gonna be a tough game because the AFC North is what it is. Like it's gonna be close games. So I don't know. I feel like I hear you on Kansas City and Buffalo, not so much with the Ravens because they're gonna see them 2 times a year anyway.
No, I agree with that. I think Baltimore was the better team last year. I'm not saying that Cincinnati was just as good as that. But if you play a team 2 times, you know their tendencies, they know your tendencies. And you lost to them 2 times in a row during the season. So your antennas are going to be more up than the Ravens' antennas. We've seen the Ravens, I think you would agree with this. In the playoffs, they don't play to their expectations. They don't play to the level that they should play at sometimes in the playoffs. So for me, I just think that Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore, they didn't want to play them last year. And Kansas City helped Baltimore and Buffalo by not playing nobody in that last game at Denver. And that's why Denver made the playoffs and Cincinnati did. I just think, like you said, we need to look at Zach Taylor because you can't lose at home to the Patriots. First game of the season. You got to win that game. So We need to look at guys that we look at in it, like in the NBA. The Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau, in the National Hockey League. The Bruins had the best they had the best regular season a couple years ago. They fired their coach because they didn't have playoff success in hockey. So we need to look at Zach Taylor. We need to understand what he is. He needs to be, he needs to be criticized for what he's not doing. But the Bengals need to get their situation together. They need to resign. They need to sign Trey Henderson. They need to sign that first round pick. As far as TJ Watt, I think TJ Watt will be fine. I think the Steelers will have a deal for him. I'm not worried about TJ Watt. That's why we haven't really spoke on him. I think they'll find a deal. I think the Steelers are worried about trying to find a quarterback. They think they found that quarterback for this season and one Aaron Rodgers. So now they'll put their focus on defense and repaying and paying TJ Watt.
I can't say that's nothing though. Like I feel like, yeah, I agree. I don't think TJ Watt's leaving Pittsburgh or anything crazy like that. But him not being there is a big deal because he is the leader of that defense. The defense is clearly not the same without him. And the longer they continue to wait, the worse it's going to get price-wise because Michael Parsons is coming down the pipeline. Trey Henderson is out there. They're all waiting and watching about who's going to get paid first and how they can raise the bar. TJ Watt deserves some quarterback money in my opinion because I can count some games last year and years before where the reason the Steelers won was because of TJ Watt. It had nothing to do with their offense or their quarterback play. It was TJ Watt getting a scoop and score to score. He would score more points in the offense by himself. So this guy, I don't know what the holdup is with him, but they better be getting this man some of that. I said it last year. I said it this year. I'll say it right now. TJ Watt deserves some quarterback money. Pittsburgh, figure it out. You're idiots if you don't. As a Ravens fan, keep waiting. Just keep waiting. Keep my OTAs. He don't need to train. He'll be fine.
Just wait. Just let him sit out the whole season. Yeah, just wait. Wait.
Figure it out next season.
Just wait till like the middle of January, end of January. Just figure it out. He'll sign. He'll come back in. I agree with you. Steelers. I don't think it's a big deal, but it is a deal that he's not there because he is the heart and soul of that defense. So I'll give you that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. Take our first break here on Highly Opinionated. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is brought to you by Edibly Airy. Enjoy the heightened experience of THC edibles in a whole new way. At Edibly Airy, our freeze-dry edibles available in 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, 400 milligram will give you the buzz you crave with a flavor you won't forget. Available in 3 different flavors: watermelon sunset, tropical fruit, and berry. To place orders, please visit the website at ediblyairy.com. While you're there at ediblyairy.com, use a promotion code. You guys see the promotion code on the screen. $ Highly Airy, $. Again, $ Highly Airy, $ for 20% off your first purchase. Follow us on IG at Edibly Airy for new product releases and monthly hookups. Must be 21 and over to purchase. Edibly Airy, the best freeze-dry edibles out. Go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. It's that time, the best segment in sports. This week's edition of Let's Talk About It, the Memphis Grizzlies and the Orlando Magic, John, they had a big trade over the weekend. Desmond Bane was traded to the Orlando Magic. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. In fact, the Grizzlies traded Desmond Bane to the Magic for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and 1 first-round pick swap. So 5 draft picks were traded for Desmond Bane. What are your thoughts? Before I ask you on your thoughts, I'd like to play this clip. This is me a couple weeks ago talking about the Memphis Grizzlies and what I think they should do. The Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies need to trade Ja Morant. They need to trade him. You can't win with a knucklehead like that. He's a great player. He's a great player. But his focus isn't on basketball, it's on other things. He wants to be something other than a basketball player. You have Desmond Bane, you have Scottie Pippen Jr., you have Jaren Jackson. Trade Ja Morant, get a boatload of picks, get a boatload of whatever you can get, players/picks, and then build your team up that way. For me, since Ja Morant 2.5 years ago said, I'm good in the West. He was sitting down with Malik Andrews. The man said, I'm good in the West. They ain't been to no conference finals. I don't even think they've been out the first round. No, they've been out the first round one time. Because they beat Ant-Man in Minnesota. They were catting them, and they shouldn't have beat them. But they've been to the second round one time. This is a man who said he's good in the West. I think the Memphis Grizzlies need to trade Ja Morant, get the assets that they can get for him, build an actual team. You have Desmond Bane, you have Scottie Pippen Jr., you have Zaire Williams, and you have Jaren Jackson. You have Jaren Jackson Jr. You can build the team up that way. Trade Ja Morant, get some guys in there that basketball is the end-all be-all, and let's rock out. So as you guys just saw the clip, you saw me say that the Memphis Grizzlies should trade Ja Morant. I still think they should trade Ja Morant. I haven't went off that iota one bit. I'm surprised they traded Desmond Bane. I thought Desmond Bane would be the guy that they kind of like build a franchise around him and Jaren Jackson. If you look at Desmond Bane, he's gotten better and better each year. He worked on his handling, he worked on his ball handling, worked on his shooting, he's worked on his defense. So I thought he's a basketball type of junkie that you could build a team around. When I say build a team around, he can't be your best player and win a championship, but he could be a key piece on a championship team, I think. So with the Orlando Magic trading 5 picks for Desmond Bane, I think the Orlando Magic are better. But if you trade 5 picks for a guy, you should be getting to the conference finals or the NBA finals. I don't know if this makes Orlando a conference finalist or an NBA finalist. I just don't. I know that the East is wide open. I know that Boston's going to take a step back. We have questions about the New York Knicks. They don't have a head coach. Indiana's in the finals now. We'll get to that in our next, and we'll get to that in the NBA finals segment. Cleveland, you don't believe in Cleveland. We know that. They've shown that they're not to be trusted. Detroit, young, up and coming. So the East is wide open. I'm going to throw out a sleeper team. I'm going to throw out 2 sleeper teams. Ladies and gentlemen, Ross, you don't have to do this, but this is breaking news. Giannis Antetokounmpo will start the season next year on the Milwaukee Bucks. He's not getting traded. You can just see that. You can see that coming because the teams that want Giannis, now they put their focus on Kevin Durant. So that tells you Giannis is not getting traded. Giannis is big on loyalty. So he's going to stay in Milwaukee. He's going to at least give Milwaukee next year to see what they can do. And then at that point, I'm sure he'll reassess things. So the biggest trade chip is Kevin Durant out on the trade market. So Giannis is not getting traded. So what that means is with the Celtics being injured and the East is wide open, Milwaukee, even though they don't have Damian Lillard, they have Giannis. So they still have a chance. I don't necessarily think they're going to win the East next year, but they have a chance to compete in the East. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a team that has the number 3 pick in the NBA draft. I'm very fascinated by it, the Philadelphia 76ers. And I know I could say this about my Los Angeles Clippers. I could say this about the Philadelphia 76ers. If the Philadelphia 76ers are healthy next year, Paul George.
Stop.
No. I get it. I understand. I know y'all can call me crazy. That's fine. If they are healthy, they can win the East next year. They have the best center in the East. They have Tyrese Maxey. They have Paul George and John. Hear me out. They have the number 3 pick in the draft. They could trade that pick or they could draft that player and develop that player. So the East is wide open. I mean, wide open. So I just think, like I said, I get it. I get that the Orlando Magic think that they have a chance of winning the East. That's why they went out there and they traded 5 picks for Desmond Bane. But for me, if I'm trading 5 picks for a guy, he got to be a superstar. He got to be somebody unequivocally. No doubt. I know that's going to do their job. Desmond Bane, he's a good player. He's not a great player. So.
All right. I'm going to address Desmond Bane first. Like you said, really good player. This feels a lot like Mikal Bridges, 5 first-round picks on the Knicks. You know how I feel about that.
But time out. Let me say this. I'm sorry, cutting you off. You know how I feel about that. If no guy should. If you trade for LeBron, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. If you trade for Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. I know Joel Embiid is hurt. Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic. Yeah, they worth unlimited draft picks. For a good player, you trading 5 picks. Again, I get it. Orlando thinks they're in contention because the East is weak. But if you trading 5 picks for a guy, man, he better be that. Desmond Bane is good, but he ain't that.
I think Bane's market is up there because he's a really great three-point shooter, and teams need three-point shooters at a premium. So I think that has to do something with his value. He's a better three-point shooter than Mikal Bridges. He's not the defender that he is. He's obviously shorter, but he's a consistent three-point shooter that can really get going. We've seen him have some big games from Memphis, especially when John Moran has been out. So I do understand the value from that perspective. Orlando sees an opportunity, and this is all a trickle-down effect from Jason Tatum and his Achilles injury. He's not playing next year. The Celtics are going to be what we looked at going into offseason last year. Just come out with a championship, retain the same roster. It's not going to be the same Boston team. There's a chance Drew Holiday could get traded. There's a chance Jaylen Brown could be traded. Porzingis could be traded. So this roster could look very different. Derek White as well. So there's a chance that this Boston Celtics team is going to look very different. So this is all a trickle-down effect from the Tatum injury. Orlando sees an opportunity. They look at Cleveland. They think they can take them. I don't believe in Cleveland. You knew that. I told y'all last year to stop drinking the Kool-Aid in Cleveland. There's a reason why they called them the mistake by the lake. Something is going to happen. It's just who they are. I'm sorry, city of Cleveland. It's who you are. You're the mistake by the lake. And then we got who else we got? We got Detroit up and coming. We love Detroit. Kay Cunningham, JB Bickerstaff, great coach. They're going to get better. Orlando still thinks they can take them. Indiana's in the finals. We know they're going to be back. We know that the New York Knicks, even though they don't have a coach right now, who knows what could happen with them. Orlando's looking at everybody in the East, and it's like, why not? Let's get a guy. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had an awful season this past year. He really underachieved. Didn't play a lot of games. When he was out there, he wasn't great. This is an upgrade from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I know that's not saying a lot, but Desmond Bane can really provide that extra spark that the Magic need, not coming from Paolo Banchero, not coming from Franz Wagner. You know, you turn the team over to Jalen Suggs for those point guard duties, and when you trade away Cole Anthony. But at the same time, we look at Memphis. You're getting 4 first-round picks for Bane. You better do something with it. Like, I don't think they're going to trade John Morant. They're not going to trade Jaren Jackson Jr., although they shouldn't retain it, in my opinion. They've already came out and said that they want Ja to continue to be the face of the franchise. Maybe Ja grew up a little bit. He got a little mature. I know how you feel about John Morant, off the court and off the court, but Memphis still believes in them. It's looking more likely they're going to sign him to an extension and probably extend Jaren Jackson Jr. as well. But with these picks that they have, you got a chance to probably go and trade for another star. Because look, Memphis isn't exactly, a golden destination for free agents where, like, I want to sign there because of this guy, or I want to sign there because of the city. It's not that. Now that you have a John Morant who is still a very, very, very good player. I mean, a couple of years ago, we talked about him possibly being the face of the league. A lot of people did, but we already saw him.
Let me make this point.
Go on.
John Morant and Zion Williamson, at one point in time, we both thought were going to be the face of the NBA. Now both stocks have plummeted. And a lot of their reasons for plummeting is not because of what they are on the court. When you look at John Morant, let me say this, because you said something about what I feel about John Morant. I want this to be out here. I like John Morant. I think he's a hell of a player. Bro, you too damn old to be pointing gun signs to people. You too old for that. You're mature of that. You have millions of dollars. Why? Why are you trying to be something that you're not? John, you and I both know. We both know killers. We both know guys who in that life. We know people in that life. John, let me ask you a question. People in that life, you think they pointing gun signs? No. When they point a gun sign to a person, they're actually going to use a gun and they're going to take care of that situation. They're not playing around. They're not trying to be something that they're not. I like John Morant. He's a hell of a basketball player. I like Zion Williamson. He's a hell of a basketball player. Zion, stay away from the exotic world, Zion. I'll just leave it that way. John Morant, stay away from the exotic world of pointing guns at people. Like, bro, you're a basketball player. Work on your game. The Michaels, the Kobe's, the LeBrons, the Kevin Durant's, the Steph Curry, they've improved their game. Why can't you do that? You want to be something that you're not. Like, be a basketball player. You make millions of dollars being a basketball player. Be that.
And be a dad. Your daughter's watching all that too, man. Like, if anything, that's enough motivation for me to stop that right there. If your daughter's watching she's watching you, bro. Like, she's watching everything. John,
most people don't know this. When you look at me, ladies, let me take my glasses off. You look at me, ladies and gentlemen, y'all like, man, that man young. I have a 13-year-old child. who looks up to me. Like, I can't be out here doing dumb shit. I can't be out here pointing guns at. If I have a firearm. If I'm pointing a gun at somebody, I'm gonna shoot you because I need to use it. I'm not playing around like, hey, I'm gonna do this and do that. No, like, sir, you have a child. Kids look up to you. I have other kids who are not my kids who look up to me. So, like, come on, man. Like, nah, don't do that. Like, be you. If you're a coach, be a coach. If you're a player, be a player. JG, I look at you, bro. One of the things that help us be great, help us develop the friendship that we got, you're authentic. I'm authentic. John, you're a good man. Me, not so much, but we're authentic. We're authentic. We are who we are. You feel me? Like, we are who we are. So it's like, I'm not, John, when we go out, I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I'm a cool, funny, laid back guy. Now, I start drinking that holy water, I might turn into something that I might not need to be. But I'm just saying, like, bro, like, we are who we are. Ja Morant, bro, like, come on, man, be who you are. The Memphis Grizzlies, in my opinion, they traded the wrong guy. They should have kept Desmond Bane. John, hit me out on this. They got 5 picks for Desmond Bane. What the fuck do you think they would get for Ja Morant?
I mean, Page and Brooklyn Nets, they got a lot of assets that they would love to trade and get a guy like Ja Morant in there just for box office in general, because Ja Morant can still sell a lot of tickets. At the very least, he's a high flyer. He can dunk on anybody at any given time. So he is going to bring people to the seats, especially in Brooklyn, New York. So, yeah, they would have got an absolute haul for Ja Morant. They can still get one. But they've already came out and said they want to keep their face of the franchise. They still think they have a chance in the West. And they do have a chance in the West. The Western Conference is not as great as Oklahoma City has been all season long. Many GMs of many teams in the West still believe they can be got next year and they can take the West. Memphis Grizzlies were kind of right in the middle of all that. Despite all the drama they have with Ja, with Taylor Jenkins, who's now interviewing for the New York Knicks head coaching job, they still believe that they can, add to this team and make it better. So now with all these picks that you have, you can try to go get another player. I mean, I'm not sure who that player is going to be, but this is, I think, in a way, this could be I kind of get tired of saying it. It's like a wake-up call for Ja Morant. Like, hey, you could be traded and you won't be in Memphis anymore. But how many wake-up calls do you get, bro?
Yeah,
like, you've
exactly.
already been suspended twice. People around the league don't believe that you are responsible enough to be handed the keys to the franchise. And that's kind of crazy to think about because you have so much talent and you can take this team farther. But you got to be available. And some of that is injury. It's not just straight off the court. Some of it is injury. But Ja's got to figure it out like now. And this last wake-up call doesn't do it. I don't know what you do if you're Memphis. So they're betting on him again. They're trading away a cornerstone piece, in my opinion, Desmond Bane. The Orlando Magic see an opportunity. They think they can get better in the Eastern Conference, and they can. But Memphis made out well too with these draft picks. You got to do something with them if you're Memphis.
Yeah, to me, Memphis won the trade because they got the 4 unprotected draft picks from Orlando. They might not be high picks, but they can be picks that you can trade to get another asset. You know how this works. And you got the pick swap. The 5th pick was a pick swap. So for me, I agree with you. Now Orlando, let's speak on Orlando for this. It's a good move for Orlando. I'm not gonna say great because they gave up everything to get them, but it's a good move because Orlando couldn't make threes last year. Their guards couldn't shoot. Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Markelle Fultz, like those players weren't the best shooters. So now you add an established 3-point shooter in there, which should free up Franz Wagner, Pablo Banchero, the 2 best players on the Orlando Magic. So Desmond Bane actually fits Pablo Banchero and Franz Wagner better than Cole Anthony or Jalen Suggs. So I understand that. But again, bro, we've been through this. We saw this last year with Mikal Bridges. We saw that. And then think about this. I sent y'all a clip in the group chat about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant wants to go. He wanted to play for the Knicks. Well, why can't the Knicks trade for him? Because they trade everything for Mikal Bridges. That's why. Nobody ain't gonna say that, but we're gonna keep it real with y'all here on Highly Opinionated. They can't trade for Kevin Durant because they traded everything for Mikal Bridges. Now let me ask you this: who's a better player, Mikal Bridges or Kevin Durant? We know the answer. You ain't even got to answer. It's Kevin Durant by far. So again, like, teams need to be careful about what they're doing in these trades because teams now are looking at like, well, we don't need 3 stars. We can get very good players. I'm not trading 5 draft picks for a very good player. If I'm trading 5 draft picks, you better be that guy. Creme de la creme, top with the notch, top with the top. I know what you're gonna bring. I don't exactly know what. My bad. I'm sorry. I don't exactly know what Desmond Bane is going to bring on a night-to-night basis with the Magic. Is he going to be consistent? Is he not going to be consistent? I don't know that. Desmond Bane is a hell of a player, but I don't know consistently is he going to be consistent with the Magic because Franz Wagner needs the ball, Pablo Banchero needs the ball, and Desmond Bane needs the ball.
I think he can be consistent. I think Desmond Bane was probably one of the more consistent players on the Memphis Grizzlies last year. Like especially when you talk about availability. Desmond Bane is also a pretty good defender as well. He's not just a shooter; like he has some game to him, and he can defend. So I think this is a good pickup for Orlando for sure. If I'm Memphis and if I'm Phoenix, hey, Memphis has got some picks. Maybe we should look at that for Kevin Durant. I'm just saying, like Kevin Durant gave his list. Phoenix basically said, "All right, cool, that's nice, that's nice, but that don't mean we're gonna do it. We see these 3 teams, but we're going to make the best decision for our franchise going forward if we're going to give up a guy like you. Hey, Memphis, what's up? Got some picks? Got KD for you. Put him with Ja, put him with Jaren Jackson Jr. You never know. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm saying you never know, like the way this could shake out. Let me address you about your Philadelphia 76ers point that you made.
Oh, I know you've been waiting on that. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about Philadelphia. Nothing. I'm so tired of hearing if the Philadelphia Sixers are healthy, if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, if Paul George can stay, if. It's like, it's so many damn what ifs. It's like, what if John got a date with Sydney Sweeney? What if John ended up going out with Tyler or Kim Kardashian, whoever? It ain't gonna happen.
Hey, bro, time out. You ain't text me yesterday. You ain't send me no pictures. Never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, man. You trying to play me right now?
I'm sorry. I'm
saying, bro, like, look, it's cool to say what if, but it ain't gonna happen. At some point in time, it's not gonna happen. When the hell has Paul George been healthy the entire season? When? Since Indiana? 2012, 2013? When in God's name has Joel Embiid been healthy for an entire season? Once for his MVP season? He missed the first 2 years of his career because he was injured. And guys, I am not trying to make fun of Joel Embiid. I am a fan of Joel Embiid. I love the guy. I think he's an awesome personality. Love having him out there in the basketball world. He can't stay healthy. It's just not going to happen. There's something is going to happen. If it's not his knee, it's going to be his ankle. It's going to be his back. He might get punched in the face or elbow to the face, and this has happened. This man has had an orbital fracture, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
7'3", someone catches an elbow to his face. It's going to happen. And I pray that it doesn't, but guys, it's going to happen. Paul George, something's going to come up. I feel bad for Tyrese Maxey. If anybody should say they want out, it's Tyrese Maxey. Save this man's career while you still can. He deserves to be on a winning team. The 76ers are stuck. Nobody wants Paul George. Nobody wants Joel Embiid. And they talked about possibly entertaining deals for these guys. I don't know so much about Embiid, but I know Paul George was discussed. He was a disaster this past year. Shocked me because I thought Paul George would be great in Philadelphia. So it shocked the hell out of me. But the Sixers are stuck, man. Daryl Morey, the genius GM that everyone keeps talking about. What the hell have you done in Philly, bro? Nothing. You've done nothing to make this team even relevant at this point. Like, and it's crazy to say that because Joel Embiid, when healthy, is one of the best players in the game. But the problem is he just physically can't stay healthy anymore. I've been on the record on this show saying I think Joel Embiid needs to medically retire. I've said this. And I'm saying this, I'm going to say it again because I worry about that man's health at this point. Like, forget basketball, bro. Like, I want you to be upright so you can, watch your son grow up and, do things with your son and everything. That's what I'm looking at as a person because, bro, you can't stay healthy while you play basketball. Something is going to happen. I don't want to hear anything about Philadelphia being a contender in the East. I mean, hell, shit. You probably need to think about trading the Pit because even if you draft a guy, it's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to – until you get off the Joel Embiid contract, until you let Paul George go and rebuild this team again around Tyrese Maxey, Philadelphia is going nowhere. But they can't because those guys are not going to retire. They're going to be there. And they're probably going to miss like half the season or at least a quarter of the season at some point. and then we get to the playoffs. They'll be in the first round. They might win a game or two, and then they're going home. That's what the Philadelphia Sixers are. That's what they're going to be next year and possibly the year after that. I don't want to hear nothing about the Philadelphia 76ers right now. Not anything.
So listening to you, you make great points. You definitely make great points. Joel Embiid has not been healthy. Paul George has been hurt basically every other year. Tyrese Maxey's in a bad situation. The reason why I think Philadelphia can compete in the East next year, and possibly, I know this sounds crazy, they could be in contention to make the finals next year, is because the East is wide open. The team that gives them trouble is the Boston Celtics, and they don't have their best player. So the way I look at Philadelphia is this. You're right. Yes, they need things to go their way. I don't think Joel Embiid is going to play every game next year. I don't think Paul George is going to play every game next year. But if you can match, I don't like the term load management, but just hear me out. If you can manage their load through the season, you have Tyrese Maxey, you have the number 3 draft pick. I disagree with you 100%. You don't trade the number 3. If you trade number 3 draft pick, you get Kevin Durant. Giannis, you trade that for that. You draft Ace Bailey, or you draft whoever you want. I think Ace Bailey will be there at number 3. So you draft Ace Bailey, whoever you want. And then you develop the team. You can develop a rookie and still sideline him. You can still timeline him with the team. Think about the team that has a number 1 pick. The team that has a number 1 pick has Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Klay Thompson. Cooper Flag don't fit that timeline, but they're going to draft him. They ain't going to trade that pick away because, he can fit into what they do. The reason why I'm a little bit more high on Philadelphia than you, because I'm looking at the landscape of the East. Before the season started, if I told you Indiana was going to make the playoffs, you would have laughed. Make the finals, you would have laughed. They're not making the finals. No, I like this team, that team, whatever team. So my point is that, again, they have a championship winning coach in Nick Nurse. They have the best center in the East, Joel Embiid. They have Paul George. They have an up-and-coming player in Tyrese Maxey. And they have an asset in the number 3 pick. So, again, we think the Celtics are going to take a step back. You don't believe in the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were the 2 best teams in the East, right, this year. The Cleveland Cavaliers, my record-wise, Cleveland and Boston. Okay, so let's say they take a step back. Okay, you have the Knicks. We don't know who their coach is going to be. You have Orlando, made the trade for Desmond Bane, but we need to see that play in action. We need to see how those guys can coexist. And then you have Detroit. If Philadelphia had a series against Detroit, I think Philadelphia will win. If Philadelphia played Cleveland, I think Philadelphia will win. If Philadelphia played Orlando, I think Philadelphia will win. If they have their guys. So I'm just saying, I get your point about Philadelphia. Why are we talking about them, this, that, and third? But they are in contention in the East because Jason Tatum is not playing. So that brings everybody back down. Boston was up here, brings them back down. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's in the same bag. Just about matchups, just about health, it's just about everything that comes along with that.
I don't think Philly beats Detroit right now, even if they have their guys. That's how good I think Detroit is going to be right now. Wow. I don't see it, bro. I know Embiid when he's healthy is great, but I can't believe in that. I get you. There's too many years of this where it's like, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose. It's a duck.
Okay, Steven. There, I got you.
Come on, man. At some point in time, we got to acknowledge what it is, man. Philly is going to be a team to watch for a few months, and something's going to happen. Okay. No, I feel bad about that. I started laughing last year when I heard that Paul George was going to be out for the first 25 games of the season. I'm like, he hasn't even suited up yet, and he's already out.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was crazy.
I'm like, damn, dude. And then Philly can't get to the damn All-Star break before they say that we're shutting down Joel Embiid again. I'm like, when does it stop? I know Philly fans, they're fine right now. They're numb to this right now because the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. So they're fine. They don't care all that much about the Sixers being bad because at least they got a championship to celebrate. But my God, they're stuck, man. I'm sorry. I can't put them in there.
Okay, well, it's okay. We can agree to disagree. I think we will watch the draft. We'll be in contact throughout the draft. Might even watch it together. So, okay, fine. And we'll see what Philadelphia does during the draft. I'm just not ready to throw dirt on them just because, again, the Eastern Conference is wide open. You talking about the Knicks, You talking about this team? You talking about that team? I'm not. Yeah, I get you. I'm not ready to throw dirt on them yet. I think they have a chance. If they draft well and they add the right pieces to this team, I think the Philadelphia 76ers can be I think the Philadelphia 76ers can be a contender next year in the Eastern Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Highly Opinionated. We're going to take a quick break. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is sponsored by Wolves of War. In some of the episodes, you can see my co-host and Ross wearing a brand called Wolves of War. Wolves of War is our first sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and we are so thankful to have those guys sponsoring Highly Opinionated. Thank you very much. The actual meaning of Wolves of War is that it represents having a strong path behind you through the battles of life. With the right people behind you, you can get through anything. You guys see the link for Wolves of War? Make sure you guys click on the link, shop, great apparels, t-shirts, sweatsuits, whatever you want, they have. Once again, Wolves of War. Make sure you guys go shop.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Dill's Banging Breakdowns. All right, let's talk about this terrible Usman-Buckley fight night. The whole main card, I am so disappointed. I am not disappointed in the prelims. And like I said, we're going to say it again. I'll probably say it every single week when there's a shitty fight night, prelim, or main card. I'm going to say it. If the prelims are banging, the main card is going to be trash. And it turned out like that on Saturday night. We started the fight off with a unanimous decision versus Demopoulos versus Lynn North. It was still a good fight. Demopoulos was going hard. She did lose, unfortunately, to Jamie Lynn Horth, but that was a great fight. Next fight in, we had some welterweights, Phil Rowe and Ange Lusa. Phil Rowe put him down. Back and forth slugging the whole entire time. Round 1 and 2 were both slugfest. I had Lusa winning round 1, Rowe winning round 2, and in the third round, after the second round, Rowe's corner was yelling, this is it. You got to go in and put him out in this third round. And Rowe went and put him out in this third round. And that was a good fight. Knockout. Loved it. I'm pretty sure you've seen the clips, and the clips are going to be all over. Phil Rowe had him up against the fence, and his head pushed against the fence, and he was just punching him. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, put him out. Good fight, Phil Rowe. Next fight, Ricky Simone versus Cameron Smotherman. I'm a fan of both these guys. Smotherman's great. Ricky Simone's great. Ricky Simone took the win with the unanimous decision. Pretty sure it was like 30-27. He just dominated the whole time. But it was a great fight. Ricky Simone's fast. So is Smotherman. Them guys don't like to lose. They were pushing the whole entire 15 minutes back and forth. Bantamweight division's already stacked, though. Where are these guys moving up? I hope they do, just so we can give it a little switch up. I'd love to see any of those guys in the bantamweight, Sean O'Malley, any of them fight Piotr Jan, fight Ricky Simone or Cameron Smotherman. That'd be some good matchups when these guys move up. Performance of the night goes to Jose Ocha. And he put down Cody Brundage, put to sleep. Good night. Unfortunately, I am a fan of Cody Brundage, but you got to give credit where credit's due. Jose dominated the first and the second round. 11 seconds in, he put Cody Brundage to sleep. Big fan of that fight. Flyweight division. I love that division. I believe it was Jose Ocha's first UFC debut. So good for him getting the knockout over Cody Brundage. Performance of the night, though. Let's talk about my man Malcolm Wellmaker. He just fought a couple months ago, and he said he wanted to fight on this Atlanta card. And he came out and he put in work in this Atlanta card. I think it went to the round 1, 2.5 minutes in round 1. Malcolm Wellmaker put him down. Chris Montehino, he's a good fighter, though. His past has said he's a good fighter. He looked like he couldn't control Malcolm Wellmaker, though. Malcolm Wellmaker knew what he was doing. He picked him apart. He was throwing high kicks. He had that nice teep kick right down the middle to the belly and the gut. Congrats to Malcolm Wellmaker. Watch out for him. He didn't get injured. I can definitely see him fighting 1-2 more times, depending on his next fight this year. If he fights again this year, I could see him fighting 2 more times this year. And moving up in the bantamweight division, like I said, that's good people coming up in the bantamweight division. The co-main on the prelims, Michael Chiesa versus Court McGee. Both these guys are old, unfortunately. It did go 15 minutes, but I was watching. They're old. Both these guys, Michael Chiesa is 37 and Court McGee is 40. I know they love fighting, but there really wasn't too much entertainment in their fighting. I wish there was. Props to Michael Chiesa because I'm a fan of him, but both those guys are old, man. Main event on the prelims: Paul Craig versus Bellato, Rudolfo Bellato. Weird fight, man. Paul Craig, it ended, could not be continued. Ref called it because Paul Craig threw an up kick at Bellato, and it was an illegal up kick, and I don't know what happened. Nobody can tell what happened yet. It looks like it knocked Bellato out and like put him in a different. I don't know. He was trying to wrestle the ref. It looked like he had a seizure when he freaked out for a sec. He says he wasn't knocked out. He didn't know what he was doing. That was a weird fight, man. I'm a fan of Paul Craig. That was just a weird fight. I think it was definitely an illegal kick because it was a ground opponent, but weird fight. I'd like to see them rematch. Main card though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 fights on the main card, and they were all unanimous decision. I almost fell asleep because it's all unanimous decisions. Menafield won. I'm happy he won. I wanted Cody Brundage to win. He did not win, unfortunately. Mansour Abdul Malik won. Cody Garbrandt, like I said, is washed up. Barcelos beat him. Knew that was coming. Shabazian won. I'm glad he won. Rose Namajunas won. I'm glad she won. That was a pretty good fight. It was a war. Kamaru Usman, Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley should have put him down. He's a unit. Kamaru Usman said, all the trash talkers, though, these knees, you see, trash talk my knees, but look what I did for five-minute rounds against Joaquin Buckley. Great fight. Still, like I said, all unanimous decisions on it. All these guys dominated or did some things to show domination, but nothing really was outstanding for me. I hope I hope everybody on that main card runs that back or something, but watch out for the bantamweights coming up on that prelims because I think next couple months those guys are going to be doing something. Next week, though, we got another fight night. I'm happy about it. We got Jamal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr. They're not the most exciting, but we'll take it for a fight night. Prelims, up-and-comers, nobody ranked on it. Nobody that sticks out, really. Women's bantamweight. We got a lot of women's bantamweight on this card. It's pretty cool. Prelims, like I said, don't really do it. Nobody in the rankings coming up. This is just a mix-in card probably to keep UFC going throughout the summer and build the fight week up. Really, the main the fights I would look out for really are the top 3 fights. Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Guneev. That guy's coming for Curtis Blades' rank. He's unranked. It's the heavyweight division. Props to Curtis Blades for letting this guy have this fight. Unranked fighter versus number 5 Curtis Blades. I think Curtis Blades is going to win. I'm a fan. He fights with Sean Strickland over there out in Vegas and all that. He trains nonstop. He has elevation. I'm a big fan of Curtis Blades, so that'll be a good fight. I got Curtis Blades in that one. Co-main event: Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Baja Mendez. Both these guys are. I don't know. Ignacio is coming off of a 3-fight win streak right now. He is hot. His last fight was actually he looked very good against Jalen Turner. He submitted him in round 1. Before that, he submitted Torres. He KO'd Torres in round 1. He hasn't been out of the first round in 2 years in the UFC. Wow. Ignacio Baja Mendez is definitely on fire right now. Unranked. He is fighting Rafael Fiziev. Rafael is coming off of a 3-fight losing streak. Woo. I don't know. I still wouldn't count Rafael Fiziev out because he's a scrapper, man. He likes war. He goes hard the whole entire time in the octagon. His Justin Gaethje fights were just crazy until Justin put him out. So did Poirier. But, oh, my God. Ignacio, I think, is going to get in there and work Rafael Fiziev. I am rooting for that. It's going to be a great fight. Lightweight bout. I'm taking the co-main event. I'm taking Ignacio Baja Mendez in that one. Main event, Jamal Hill, Khalil Rountree. I don't know where these guys are going anyway. Once they beat each other, they still got to fight Pereira. But Jamal Hill just lost to Pereira not too long ago, and he lost to Yuri Prohaska. Before that, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Khalil Rountree Jr., I believe, is on a 1 or 2 fight lose streak right now. Yeah, he beat up Anthony Smith right before he fought for the belt last October against Pereira and lost to that. But I guess nobody's beaten Pereira in the lightweight division. But this, I think, should be a good fight. I'm not looking forward to it as much as I am the co-main event, but I think Jamal Hill needs to come out and prove himself again after taking 2 losses back-to-back. I'm a fan of Jamal Hill. He throws down, but so does Khalil Roundtree Jr., both them guys. Yeah, I don't know, crazy. I'm going to take Jamal Hill on this one. It's going to be a good fight tonight. Also, today, to throw out there real quick, UFC had the BJJ Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now going down. I watched that. Pretty insane if nobody's tuned in. We'll talk about that more next week for sure. But thank you, guys. I'll talk to y'all next week on Dill's Banging Breakdowns. Can't wait for fight night.
Dylan, you are the best, sir. I appreciate you for all your MMA boxing expertise. I look forward to seeing you next week on the show, bro. You make all of us better and smarter. We appreciate you. We love you, Dylan. You're the best, bro. John, before we get to the NBA Finals, let's talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Stanley Cup Finals to be exact. You picked the Edmonton Oilers. I picked the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are up 3-2. They won Game 5 in Edmonton 5-2 after blowing Game 4 at home 5-4 in overtime. Again, you picked the Oilers. I picked the Panthers. I just think the Panthers are the better team. I watched every game in this series. It's been great hockey. It's been great. It's been a great Stanley Cup Finals. And I think the Edmonton Oilers will close it out Game 6 Tuesday night, 8:00 on TNT.
You mean Florida?
I'm sorry, Florida. Thank you. Appreciate that. I think the Florida Panthers close it out Game 6 Tuesday night, 8:00 Eastern on TNT.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Florida stealing that Game 5 in Edmonton was a backbreaker. I've been disappointed in Connor McDavid. Now, some of it is Florida's defense really bottling it up, making sure he hasn't had a great effect on this series. But when you're one of the best players in the league, you got to find a way. And your teammates also have to pick you up. Edmonton hasn't done that for Connor McDavid. Sam Reinhart has been dominant in this series, leading the Panthers in goals. So with all that being said, now that they're going back to Florida to close it out, I have a hard time believing that Edmonton's going to be able to force a Game 7. Even though they went into Florida and won a game in overtime when it looked bad before, this series was been pretty, with the exception of one game where Florida absolutely blitzed them. It's been a pretty competitive series, but I have a hard time believing that the Oilers are going to force a Game 7. I think Florida closes out tonight and they become back-to-back champions in the NHL.
Yeah, shout out to Brad Marchand, Florida Panthers player. He had 2 goals in Game 5. So I just think Florida is the best team. They learned from that experience last year. Remember, the Florida Panthers were up on Edmonton in the Stanley Cup last year 3-0, and then Edmonton came back to force a Game 7. So I think Florida will understand that. They don't want to play Game 7 in Edmonton. Game 6 is on your home ice in Florida. I think the Florida Panthers close it out in Game 6 Tuesday night, 8:00 on TNT. Let's move to the NBA Finals. As you mentioned earlier in the show, it's been a great NBA Finals. The series is currently tied 2-2. Game 5 is Monday night, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Game 6 is Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. I picked the Thunder in 6. Reluctantly, I'm going to stay with the Thunder in 6. I will say I think Indiana has proven that they are a good enough team to win the championship. But I just think it'll be too much Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think it'll be too much J-Dub, Jalen Williams. I'm glad that Mark Daigneault went back to his starting lineup that, won him all those games and played the 2 bigs, Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren together. I don't know why he made a lineup change in Game 1. That was stupid. You adapt to the team. You adjust to the team after they make adjustments to you. You don't adjust to the team and you haven't even seen them play yet. That was stupid in my opinion. I think Mark Daigneault was a hell of a coach, but I just thought that was the wrong decision. So I think Oklahoma City wins. I told you I thought Oklahoma City would win in 6. I know you thought Indiana will only win 1 game. A lot of people didn't think Indiana will win a game. So for Indiana to win 2 games is very impressive. But reluctantly, I'm going to stay with my pick. I think Oklahoma City wins this series in 6 games. I think Oklahoma City wins the rest of the games in this series.
Josh, being in the podcast game, when I talk about sports, one thing that I hold true with my rule: don't be afraid to be wrong. And I went out on a limb and said that I didn't think Indiana was going to win another game after they won game one. I was very surprised. They came out and said, surprise, surprise, we're better than you think we are. And they are.
Yes,
So
they are.
I can't dismiss Indiana anymore. I leaned with your 6-game prediction, obviously, because I can't do 5 anymore. So I'm going to lean to OKC in 6. But would it shock me at this point if there's a game 7?
Would not.
No, I can't. And really, I'll take it a step further. Wouldn't shock me if Indiana actually won the damn NBA championship, because they've just constantly overachieved and proven people wrong all postseason long. If it ain't Halliburton, it's Siakam. If it ain't Siakam, it's Ben Mathurin of all people dropping 27 on the bench. I didn't see that.
Andrew Nembhard.
I was about to get them to but you don't know what's coming sometimes with Indiana. They just have guys that are capable of doing that. And it's hard to scout a team that has 3, 4, 5 guys that can come out and give you 20-some points a game. It's just the offense is so random. It doesn't stick. And there's threats everywhere. Miles Turner, even though he hasn't really played well numbers-wise, he's got the ability to stretch the floor. If he comes out and knocks down some threes, well, OKC has a different problem now, because now the lanes are open up for Halliburton and for Siakam, who thrive at getting to the rim. So if Miles Turner shows up, that makes things difficult for OKC. The line, even though OKC is an overwhelming favorite tonight and to win the series, I think that's a little disrespectful to Indiana. I think the line is a lot closer than people realize. And this is not because Indiana has taken OKC out of what they usually do. OKC was leading the league in three-point attempts all season long. That's what they do. In the playoffs, against Denver, they were at 37 threes a game. In the NBA Finals, they're down in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's Indiana taking them out of what they do and making them uncomfortable. You got Jalen Williams playing a lot more point guard than they have the entire season. It's not something OKC does. So that's a lot of credit to Rick Carlisle, the championship coach that he is, and just Indiana executing the game plan, being bought in. This is a challenge between Rick Carlisle has a team that are full of very capable, good players. Mark Daigneault, the inexperienced coach, especially in the finals, has the better players. He's got Shea, he's got Jalen Williams, he's got Chet Holmes, so he has a talent there. Which side is going to prevail tonight? Is it going to be the coaching, or is it going to be the talent? To me, this game is a toss-up. It is not. To me, it should not be a foregone conclusion that OKC wins tonight. I am picking OKC, but the way that this finals has unfolded, the way that Rick Carlisle has been and maximizing everything on this team, TJ McConnell, for crying out loud, is an absolute pest and a factor. The way that he's impacted this game is incredible to watch. So this game is a toss-up. This series is a toss-up. I was sorely mistaken at how this series is going to turn out going into it. I mean, I think a lot of people were. I mean, a lot of people just continue to dismiss Indiana like they did last year. They thought last year when they got to the conference finals was fluky. It wasn't going to happen again. Well, here they are. And now what I want to say is I thought they blew their opportunity to really put a stranglehold on things in game 4. They had a chance to go up 3-1 and ultimately effectively end this series. Like, OKC's not coming back for 3-1. I wasn't going to see that happening. But I feel like they choked down the stretch. I won't use the language that I use in the group chat, but you know what I said. They choked me late in the game. It came down to just guys making shots. Indiana wasn't making shots. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made shots. And sometimes that's what it comes down to. A lot of people were talking about the little push-off he had on Neesmith. It was Michael Jordan-esque. I'm a quote Michael Jordan from the Last Dance. Bullshit. He didn't push off. And the ref was standing right there watching it. It was a flop. And he wasn't. He said, "Nope, I'm not calling that bullshit. You play defense." And Shai made the shot. So sometimes it just comes down to guys making shots, and that's when the talent versus the coaching, which one is going to prevail down the stretch. That's what I'm looking for as we go into Game 5 tonight.
So the Thunder are favored by 9.5 in Game 5. I agree with you. I think that's entirely too much. I think that's disrespecting Indiana. The Thunder are overwhelming favorites in this series. I've never seen a series tied 2-2 and you just think the series, like the media just thinks the series is over. They just like, oh, well, I mean, hey, they won their little games. It's fine. We think, okay. No, let me say this. As a basketball fan, I'm a basketball junkie, just like you are. I would love to see a Game 7. You want a Game 7 in this series. This series deserves a Game 7. Let's see who it is. One game deciding it all. Let's roll the ball out. Let's see who the best team is. So I agree with you on that. Getting back to your point about what the great Rick Carlisle was doing, I'm gonna give you a stat. You know, I'm not big on stats, but I'm big on this particular stat. Oklahoma City won game 4, 111 to 104. Oklahoma City made 3 of 16 threes. They shot 19% from the 3-point range. Let me say it again. 19% in today's modern NBA to win a game. That shows you that you have the better team. Shows you that. You didn't make threes and you won the game. So I agree with you. I'm going to take it a step further. You're a nice guy, bro. You know I love you. You're a nice guy. Indiana played like shit in the fourth quarter. They gave everybody but the ball. They gave everybody the ball but their best player. Pascal Siakam is Indiana's best player. Give the man the ball. Give him the ball. Give him the ball. Let him orchestrate the offense. Let him do something. He's your best He's your best offensive player. So Indiana played scared. They played timid. They played like they were up in the fourth quarter and didn't know how to close. When we seen them close all playoffs long. They closed in the first round against Milwaukee. They closed in the second round against who they played? They played Cleveland. They played Cleveland in the second round. They closed. They closed in the Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Knicks. So you should be able to close at home game 4. You go up 3-1, you probably win the series. Now it's a 2-2 series. So, like I said, I just think that Oklahoma City is the better team. I'm impressed with Indiana because they've shown that they're a good team. But I think Oklahoma closes this out on Thursday night. I don't think there will be a game 7. I picked Oklahoma City in 6 before the series. And I haven't seen anything to change my mind. I think Oklahoma City wins game 5. I think game 5 will be close. And I think Oklahoma City goes to Indiana and they finally they won game 4. And I think they'll win game 6 in Oklahoma City. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys for watching episode 42 of the best sports show out, Highly Opinionated. For the best co-host in the game, JG. Again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the Club JG podcast. My brother has something great for you guys every week. Keep doing your thing, bro. All love over here from us here, Highly Opinionated. Keep being great. Keep pushing us for us to be great.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I am merely Josh. Ross will be back next week on camera, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you for watching episode 42 of Highly Opinionated. Enjoy the NBA Finals. Enjoy the Stanley Cup Finals. We will see you guys next week. We out.